Hello and welcome back to Old Comic Book Day. I'm your man Mud. Mud is my middle name. My first name is Kerr, and my last name is Jun, and I'm an old guy, and I like the old comics and not the new stuff. Today, on this video, I'm going to be doing a Marvel New Universe Rescue Haul. I am playing the role of superhero, and I am rescuing New Universe comic books from the evil supervillains at Half Price Books when they put these stickers on there. Now, these are just 50 cents. They're nothing special, but I don't like a sticker on my comic, and I'm going to just fix that. But I'm not going to do it on camera. I'm just going to talk about some that I've already done. Let's go through the haul first, and then we'll talk about the New Universe a little bit, and we'll talk about stuff. So I've got DP7. I bought about 23, I think, in the stack, 23 comics, and I already did some sticker removing work, and some I still haven't that still have the sticker. So here's DP7 number 9 and DP7 number 31, DP7 number 32, the last issue, Starbrand number 9, that actually completed my run. I have all of them now. Justice number 23, Justice 24, Justice 25, Justice 27, Justice 28, nope, sorry, 29, Justice 30, Justice 31, Cyforce 6, and then my model over here was a Cyforce 10. I'm aiming to use that as a screenshot for the video thumbnail. Cyforce 11, Cyforce 13, Cyforce 22, cameo by Night Mask, obviously. Cyforce 23, appearance by DP7. Cyforce 24, Cyforce 25, Cyforce 26, Cyforce 29, Cyforce 30, and Cyforce 31. So, briefly about the New Universe, it was a little 25th anniversary celebration kickoff new line of comics from Marvel Comics. So I'm going to show you back in 1985-86 when I was going to my comic book stores, any comics I bought, they put them in this bag. So my comic shop was Wilder Interest Comics and Games in Pasadena, California, and I just love this. And then in one particular month, this border was used on the cover of every Marvel comic, and there was a headshot of a character in there. But on the back side of this bag was their heavily promoted New Universe line, and they were coming out with 8 new comics. They just wanted it to be a separate little universe of its own, and this was a Starbrand. The first page of the first issue, a little splash panel on the first page of the first issue, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Starbrand was written by Jim Shooter and drawn by John Romita Jr. Now, the funny thing is, like, you watch interviews with Jim Shooter on YouTube, he'll say that it was kind of a a line that was doomed to start before it began. Just you can look up some stuff about that, but he mentioned it was like staffed, written and drawn by creators that were not up to snuff, sort of thing. That's because they couldn't pay the right rates. But it's like so funny because I made a little list here of some of the creators, just glancing at the pages of these garbage tier comics. But look at the list of people we know of that are in here. Oh, look at these little known names: Jim Shooter, John Byrne, Peter David, Tom DeFalco, Archie Goodwin, Mark Grunwald, Paul Ryan, Mark Texiera, Fabian Nicieza, Mark Bagley, Ron Lim, Danny Fingeroth, Lee Weeks, Ron Friends. That's just a few. Another one I crossed out, Javier Salteras. I shouldn't have. I mean, he put together some great drawings on Ghost Rider, I believe, and some other stuff. Anyway, yeah, so it was great stuff. And when I was a kid, I was looking at these comics and I was enamored with them, but I never bought them. Okay, so like I was 12 in 1986, and there was no way. I mean, I was just getting started. My allowance at the time was like $3 a week, and I had small little startup collections of Daredevil, Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, Avengers, Captain America, and my allowance money was tapped out just to get the main line of Marvel Comics. I would have loved to have been part of something new. I would have loved to have gotten the Star brand, but at that young age of 12, I knew, do not go down this dark path of OCD autism. You can't do it. If you get them, you're going to try and get them all. There was 8 titles, even at 75 cents a piece. That was still more money than 12-year-old me had, and I would still just look at them, on the spinner racks or at my comic shop, and I would just, I'd flip through them a little bit, and I would just marvel at the stuff that I saw in there, and I just wished I could have had them. Spitfire and the Troubleshooters looked interesting to me. DP7 definitely looked interesting to me. Star Brand for sure, the most interesting. They all looked interesting. Even the goofy titles like Kickers, and the obvious, Punisher ripoff, Mark Hazard Merc, they just all seemed cool. And then the things that they continued to do with it when they put out some of the prestige, format stuff like the Pit, and then later as it really was getting bad, the Draft and the War, it just all looked pretty cool. So I longed to have been a part of this and read them, but I never did. Probably a decade or 15 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to look for something to buy. I was in the dollar bins or something, and I saw a bunch of Star brands. I was like at least 1 through 5 or something. I was like, I'm going to pick them up. Jim Shooter, John Romita Jr. I'm going to buy them and read them. And then I did, and they were good. And I was like, okay, I'll see. I'll just stick to this one run. I'll get the John Byrne, ones. And so if I was in a dollar bin, I'd pick up Star brand only. But then, as I thought of it, I thought this would be a fun project to get all 170 issues of the New Universe in the original run from 1986 to whenever it ended, 92 maybe, something like. I don't know if it went that. Yeah, I don't know, whenever it ended with the 4-part The War prestige format. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go all in. I'm not going to care. I'm just going to buy reading copies, okay? I don't care. So I actually just started picking up stuff when I could, but I wouldn't get the ones with in the clearance bins, that had stickers on them. But then just lately, I decided to go ahead and get them. But I picked up a whole bunch at Mile High Comics in the Denver area. I actually went up there, and I got a bunch of them for $1 or $2 in their ocean of comics that had backing boards and bags, and they were in pretty good shape. But I also rifled through their dollar bin and picked up a bunch that way as well. So recently I thought, you know what? Let me try and get this done. I'll just go ahead and rescue some from the half price books bin and clearance bin, 50 cents. There's a bunch of half price books in the area I live in now. So anyway, I went through a wish list kind of thing, and I said, all right, let me see what I got, and on my wish list on collectors comics, and I just wanted to, as part of this video, talk about what I have. So I've probably only read about 5 issues of Starbrand and haven't read the rest of the stuff. But once I complete the run um, of all the entirety of it, and I'm not talking about the new stuff. I'm not going to hunt down the new stuff that Peter David did and Mark Grunwald did with his Star Blast thing. I'm just not going that crazy just yet. Maybe I'll get there after I read the whole original run. But there's 170 comics. I've got 59 left to go on my wish list, which, if I get them in these clearance bins, I might only have to spend about $30 to get all 60, 59 that I'm looking for. I have currently 111 of the New Universe books. So I kind of want to just do that. It's a fun little passion project of mine. I want to get all 170 of them and then read them in a binge, if you will, kind of an uninterrupted thing, just read them as they came out, issues 1, all eight first issues that came out that first month or so. As an aside, this should be my 4th video that I've put out on YouTube. And I talked about how many comics I had. Well, and I just added these into Collector's app. I came up with my current, in my collection of 54 short boxes, is 5,815 comics. And I do have a modest little wish list of about 588. That includes, the 59 here. I want to get all the Marvel graphic novels. That's hard. I want to get all the Marvel Age, all the Marvel Comics Presents. And just filling out, the garbage tier stuff in my run that I didn't have, I didn't want to buy. And my aim with all of this comic collecting is to own, besides the New Universe, aside from that, is to own every Marvel comic book published in the Marvel Universe continuity. And I mean that, by that, the superhero comics. And what I'm excluding from that is stuff that the Marvel heroes appeared in, but are like the licensed products of the toys and stuff like that. So like you have Transformers limited series like number 3, right? And Spider-Man shows up in that, like he does in all 3rd issues, or Micronauts, or I don't know, Sectars, I think, or Crystar, Nightcrawler shows up in those, or random X-Men show up in some of those. I'm not gonna, the one that is licensed but was really a little more part of the Marvel Universe was ROM, so maybe I'll try to get all the ROMs from 86 to 92 it ended in 86, 87, but I'm gonna feel it out, because it's like NFL Super Pro. Gosh, what do I do about that? Yeah, Spider-Man is in there too, but do I really want to get the 10 or so issues of NFL Super Pro? I don't know about that. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So the core Marvel Universe titles I want to own all of them published from when I started collecting in the main in 1986, when I was a 5th or 6th grade kid, spending my own allowance money and riding my bike to all the bookstores and 7-Elevens and comic book stores in my neighborhood, and riding my bike back up the street carefully as I could with a bag of comics without damaging them in the least. I was really good at that. A lot of patience, a lot of care, and anyway. So I will talk about let's see if there's anything else I wanted to address with this video. So I showed you the little haul. Yes, the restoration issues that I want to talk about and what I did. Okay, so if you've seen the wonderful movie starring Stan Lee, and written and starring and directed by Kevin Smith, Mallrats. Jason Lee and the other character, they go to, Jason Lee's the actor, but him and the other character go to an indoor mall / flea market, and he rifles through a box of, a long box or something, and he sees all these comics loose like this, and he says, these should be in bags, you savages, or something like that. I couldn't agree more, and I believe that they should be in bags and backing boards. So even though my intent is just to get garbage reading copies, and I don't even hardly ever touch books like this as ungingerly as this. I'm a Simpsons radioactive man, candlelight to the tongs, turn each page carefully kind of reader. That's what I do, even with old beat up copies typically. But these get an exception because this is just so beat up, and it's 50 cents. It's literally from the 50-cent bin, and there's no hope of restoring this to anything good. Okay, they're dirty. They've been in remainder bins for over 30 years, rifled through by billions of people. All right, but so again, I'm not going to show you my restoration efforts, but I'm just going to talk about them because I watched videos and I will show you some of the results. So there's chemicals which are not called for here, and I'll show you the negative results of that in some of these that I just restored here. But I don't recommend using it for these comic books. I will tell you why I tried this adhesive duck. It's called Duck Adhesive Remover, and here's what I've done with collections of books. If I find some books at half-price books that have a sticker on it or smudges or smears or whatever, you dab a little duck adhesive remover on there, and you can clean it up. This is a Star Wars Heir to the Empire, and any nice high gloss dust cover can be treated with this, and stickers can be removed, and there's no damage to the dust cover. I've done it many, many, many times. Almost all these hardcovers are first editions of Clive Cussler and Tom Clancy over on this other bookshelf. And whether they're paperbacks or hardcovers with dust jackets, I don't hesitate to put this stuff on it, dab it on the cloth, and wipe it off, and the stickers come off great. You can't even tell. There's no damage to those, but they do damage the paper of these old comic books. So not a recommendation. Don't do this to the comics, and other comic channels probably told you the same. Like on Reggie Collects, I saw him using one of these Mr. Clean's magic cleaners and to wipe off some of the grime and stuff, and I tried it. Limited, modest success. I saw another video that said dab your finger in water, wet the sticker, and then throw it in the microwave, in spans of 30 seconds to a minute. I tried that. I didn't care for it. It didn't. The comic came out all hot. Hurt your finger a little bit to do it, but then. And you still have the grime underneath, and anyway, I didn't care, so that's not a method I'm going to use. Now, the last one is the hair dryer. Yep. Heat. Sorry about the shakiness. I need to really hold this still better. Hair dryer, and other people use various heat guns, and this is a 3 to 5 minute or more process. I just run it along for 3 minutes without stopping, without touching, and then at 3 minutes, a corner should be able to be pulled back, and then you just continue to blow dry at the high heat setting of, and this is just a regular hair dryer, okay, at the high heat setting, and you can just gingerly keep using your fingertip to get it up there. Now let me show you. Get it off and get the whole thing off. Now let me show you some of the results from disastrous to okay on this process. Okay. Sorry if there's some shakiness. I'm using an old iPhone 3 to do these videos. No, 2. I think this is the iPhone 2, so sorry. Okay, so after using chemicals, this one didn't turn out too bad. I don't even think you can see it on the camera, but there was a little bit. I lost a little bit of the black here, rubbed away. That wasn't super bad. I was probably being more careful. Then I was like, okay, it's going to damage them anyway. Let me go a little faster. And when I was using when I was after the chemicals and then wiping, I rubbed away some of the white through to the level there. Okay, so then look at that. This was where the sticker was and smeared, and I was just like, there was no fixing it. It's sort of heartbreaking, but I mean, I'd rather have this kind of damage than have the sticker on the comic. But again, these are reading copies. I plan to like read them and then bundle all 170 of them and throw them on eBay and say, hey, anybody want reading copies for $100? It's, you know, and that would be down the road, or just some sort of big bundle. I don't think the Star brand had a sticker on it or something. Yeah, okay. So here's Justice, and yeah, I ran the colors on the white and the black, and you know, anyway, chemicals, no bueno. Okay, so now here, these next ones, the sticker, I did not use chemicals, and I decided, I think maybe on this one I still did, but starting with these three, I think I just left, I did the hair dryer thing, got the sticker off, but left the small little sticker size adhesive in place. And I'm trying to hold this up to different light. Right, hold on. Okay, the sticker was right here. Let me see if I can turn it. Sorry about the glare, but it was like right around his face somewhere. And I can't make the camera pick up where it was. But here's the problem with this too. I think it looks good. The hair dryer, 3 to 6 minutes, carefully peeling it, millimeter by millimeter. It worked well, but I didn't want to monkey with adhesive remover, the cleaner thing, a cloth, nothing to get that off. So now what's happened is they're in the backing board. There's a small bit of adhesive still remaining there, and it's in the backing board and bag, and guess what? It will be sticking to, for a long, long time to come, it will be sticking to the plastic Mylar bag here, or not Mylar, poly bag. So, same, here's where the sticker was, and I guarantee you this poly bag is sticking to the comic. And didn't want to do this on screen because I need a hand to hold the camera and need to you know, I can't put it down then unbag it and stuff, but I did before I shot this video. I opened this one. It had been sitting underneath, deliberately by me, sitting underneath the stack, the vertical stack of all 23 of these comics, because I wanted to see what would happen with that small bit of adhesive. And guess what? I opened it, and it was basically like a piece of tape stuck to the cover. It was stuck, and I had to be very careful to remove the carefully, like prod my finger in there and remove the poly bag from the comic book, so as to not lose or rip the cover or lose much color and stuff like that. So in years time, it'll be something I have to try to remember to like not yank this. It'll be stuck. I'll figure it out why it's stuck, and I won't be able to pull it out and free it from its sticky prison without being very careful to remove it from there. So that is my Marvel New Universe rescue haul. It'll be a long, long time before I get to reading these and enjoying them, and that's something I've learned to reconcile about my hobby and my collecting. There's two things I love. I love reading comics. When I was a teenager and my collection was growing, I would reread the couple hundred comics that I had many times over. And as I got to my later teens and my collection was in the 2,000 to 3,000 range, I would reread the runs that I liked best. I mean, I was always reading comics, always reading comics. If I didn't reread them, that's fine, but I probably read the majority of my 3,300 comics when I stopped collecting when I stopped counting at 17. When I got to be 18, 19, my senior year of high school, my freshman year of college, I was playing football, I was doing all kinds of stuff, just tons of activities. You know, maybe I didn't, read as much, especially my freshman year. I would just buy the comics, but I wouldn't get to read them because I had, at that point, I had an $80 a month habit, and that broke me, so I just stopped collecting after my freshman year of college because I was buying but not reading. And then as I got older and had, had a lawyer job and, could put some money to the hobby, I would still buy stuff, especially in the last 5 years or so. If I could afford to go to cons and pick up huge runs in the $2 bins or whatever, I would buy them, but I wouldn't read. I mean, I showed you my number. I have 5,815 comics, I guess now. Easily 2,000 of those haven't been read. So what have I had to do? I've had to reconcile two things: my love for reading comics and my love for collecting comics. I hope to read every single comic I own and get through this big collection of 56 short boxes and the I don't think I've not read 3,000 of them, but like probably in the 2,000 range I have not yet read. I want to read them all. I hope to. But what I had to reconcile in my brain, my head, my heart, and my wallet was I'm collecting these things and not reading them. But that doesn't diminish my enjoyment. I want to have this run. I hope to and plan to read them all. Fingers crossed. And not part with them before I've read them. I've never sold a single comic in my life. So what I recently embraced in the last 2 or 3 years is like, no, that's okay. I will get to them. I will read them. But the collecting is as much an enjoyable enterprise to me as the reading. And honestly, in the last 20 odd years, I've spent more time in comic stores hunting for back issues and buying back issues or whatever than I have actually reading the comics. Far more hours and hours and hours on YouTube watching videos just like this one I'm producing than I have reading the comics. And so now with this YouTube channel too, that's part of the fun of this. I am enjoying this after watching these channels for 2 to 3 years and then thinking maybe I could do a channel too. I had something to look forward to. This is making me enjoy the hobby so much. And I will get better at this as a learning curve. I decided, hey, no editing, just I do have an iPhone 7, but I got to clear some space on it before I can shoot videos. And I'm working on that, and I'm getting more. I'll build a title card, or I'll do whatever. I'm not going to get too crazy with this, but I don't even have anything to hold my camera yet. I've been propping it up for the first 3 videos between some paperback books and hoping I don't jiggle it too much. But this has been fun to do. Watching all these other YouTubers make the channels has been fun to do. Such a great time, and yeah, I no longer worry that I'm buying things and not opening them up. Well, I do open them because I put them immediately in a new bag and board, when I go to a store. But I've reconciled that part of it. The collecting is near as important right now to me as the enjoying, and I do have there's a finite goal here. Every time I go down a separate path, a tangent of getting newer stuff or DC stuff or something like that, it's okay, but I don't enjoy it as much. But I've had some things pull me in different directions, and that's all right. And I do try to read those and enjoy those, and I'm working on it. But yeah, that's the big thing I reconciled is, why am I wasting 50 cents on this comic when I won't read it for probably several years? It's okay. I love it. I love this comic book. I love that I'm going to spend 6 to 10 minutes painstakingly removing this sticker with a stupid hairdryer. that I don't even use because I buzz my hair short and keep it bald basically. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking, but I hope you got something out of this video. You can enjoy the collecting hobby as I do and reconcile it with the reading hobby as well. All right. Thanks again for watching.